Be done in a second. Okay, we are live. Um, First of all, welcome. Uh, so today I brought on Miles Bruner. I think it's been 2 months or so since you
Um, yeah, almost 2
released
months.
your yeah,
October
yep,
20th.
released your post. Yes, you released your post announcing that you were leaving the Republican Party as
Yep.
a you'd been working in Republican politics for quite some time, and you left your job, left your party, and joined the anti-Trump coalition. Um, so I guess my first question is, um, can you explain to the my audience, like, kind of like what specifically led to you making the decision when you did? Obviously,
Yeah.
it was a big decision to quit your job and
Yeah.
announce it the way you did.
Yeah. I always tell people it was kind of like it was like a death by a thousand cuts. I had never been a fan of Trump. I'd never even voted for him. And so it it was a long journey. I would say the straw that finally broke the camel's back for me was seeing federal troops and federal agents in our streets, masked agents. At that point, I couldn't go any farther. There was no rationalization or compartmentalization I could do to um, hide it anymore or live with it. So um, around July, September, I started working people at the Bulwark to write this article. And it took about 3 months of once I made the decision and talked with everyone, took 3 months to actually wind up publishing and actually leaving.
Yeah, yeah, because the thing is, I was like, that's a big decision, and when I remember reading that piece in the Bulwark, I was like, wow, this is like, because like again, like this is someone who's worked for a lot
Yeah.
of Republicans across many years, and he finally saw the light, which is good. I think I've written several pieces, and many people also have, about like how do we how are we flexible enough to allow people who make decisions like yourself,
Yeah.
and obviously people like other people like you, into the coalition,
hmm
that
It's
including people
no, it can be.
also like, we've had like Mike Pence who have left somewhat because of
Yeah.
everything that he went through, and like how do we do that without kind
Yeah.
of betraying our values? My personal view is
Oh
I
yeah.
think the person has to have accountability, and obviously you
Yeah.
have acknowledged that you would, and I think that that's the main thing for me. I Because I think I don't think that it's going to help anyone to simply say, "Oh, you worked for him one time, you supported him one time, you therefore you can never."
Yeah.
Because then what's the encouragement to ever leave?
It's
It's embarrassing. It's
yeah.
embarrassing
Yeah.
sometimes.
I always think it's a challenge. I'm very sympathetic to a lot of the people who do leave very late, but I don't shy away from the fact that I stayed way too long. I mean, I stayed for over 4 years after January 6th, and so just leaving on its own to me is not enough. Like what I did, is just the start. That's just a starting point. There needs to be an acceptance of culpability. There needs to
Yeah,
be an acknowledgement that you stayed too long, and what you did damaged this country. And so, for a lot of these people, myself included, there needs to be follow through. There needs to be a commitment that you're um, committed to the pro democracy cause. You're committed to helping candidates who will um, challenge MAGA, who will eventually take it down, hopefully. So I'm very sympathetic. It's a very complicated issue because I see a lot of my a lot of people still inside MAGA, and I can't necessarily condemn them outright, because I was just there. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult. I feel like I come at it with a little more grace because I just left, but because I fully acknowledge that it's something that's gonna stay with me, and it's gonna take a long time and a lot of work to um, be fully absolved of what I did, if ever.
Well, yeah, 'cause I think that, like, one of the hard things is that we've seen, like, feel like obviously a lot of people like Mike Pence, John Bolton, all these people, like, obviously come out against Trump, but they still, in the past election,
Yeah.
refused to endorse Kamala Harris or other Democrats. But then you also saw people like Liz and Dick Cheney and other people like that actually endorsing and campaigning with various Democrats across the ballot. And I think that, like, I'm willing to accept the Mike Pence's into like the w- somewhat coalition, but like I was like these people are still refusing to acknowledge that they
Yeah,
still kind of
it's
hope that there's something there that like
they
you
believe
obviously seen you've seen like yeah
they believe that the Republican Party is salvageable. And
yeah
I don't come at it from that perspective. I come at it from a very, I guess you would call it deeply cynical perspective, that the Republican Party as a political entity is non-existent. I even wrote recently that the Republican Party today is essentially just a hollow um, grifting operation.
yes
And so trying to
fortunately
pretend that it's something that can be saved is just a fool's errand. And then I look at other people. You also look. Now, there's other people who criticize that, like, oh, now you're leaving because it's a sinking ship and you want to make a quick buck. And to that criticism, I also have sympathies, because a lot of people quit just to get a book deal, to make money.
yeah
So there needs to be proof that you're willing to put in hard work and you're willing to not just profit off of it. Because I see
yeah
that I see people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Um,
yep
I I'm so conflicted because I see her saying some decent stuff. At the same time, it's really hard to feel she's coming from a place of being genuine. Um,
well
so a place of
what I
authenticity.
find very interesting what I find interesting with the Marjorie Taylor Greene case and others of that variety is that you're seeing them criticize Trump, but you're not seeing them criticize the MAGA movement, which
No,
they
yeah,
they just view that Trump has not really done the
living up to it. Yeah,
full MAGA movement. So it's not that oh, I think that the MAGA movement is bad. It's just I don't think Trump's done it well.
yeah.
Which is
They're
also things. I think she makes a point there that there's a lot of things that Trump ran on that he hasn't done, whether it be bringing down
Mhm.
prices, um, or
Yeah,
it's the fact that this whole America First thing, but also wanting to get involved with elections, do regime change in Venezuela, whatever else he decides to
yeah,
do, asking for for the Prime Minister of Israel to be pardoned by the president and getting involved with their judicial affairs and things like this. It's a very hypocritical for a person who claimed to be America First and not getting involved with foreign affairs in that same way. Um, but like there's so much more to his problems than
yeah,
just he's not conservative enough. Oh, he's not a MAGA enough. He's also not conservative, but it's a whole other thing. But the
yeah.
thing is that well, because the thing is just like I don't know if you caught his speech last night.
I did.
Um,
Yeah,
I didn't watch. I didn't watch it in live time. I watched like I caught the end of it because I was watching enjoyable TV. Um, and I was just like, this. First of all, this speech felt like he was screaming the whole time. It felt like he was screaming the whole time, talking very fast, and then just obviously typically lying. But just like it felt like a different speech for him. It did not feel like it should have been a prime time speech that was carried
no, it
by all
was.
networks.
I think it was a ploy to salvage his sagging polling numbers, and to reconnect with the base. I think a lot of it was a base move, to assuage a lot of concerned people on the right. Um, and whether he succeeded in that, I remain skeptical of. Um,
Yeah, I don't
but
think that a 18-minute speech is going to help him
no, not
revert the
now.
fact that people can't afford groceries.
But I did caution people, that yeah, it was fun to mock it, but I've seen so many of these speeches, from the Republican side for so long now that I wanna warn people that, like, it's fun to mock it, and there I've done fair share of it, but working on the GOP side, for work clients, we would either not acknowledge it the next day, or we would write glowing reviews about it, on behalf of our clients, and just say that the left's criticism of his speech was just another sign of Trump derangement syndrome, and then it'd all be forgotten. So any mockery of any of his speeches are so I want people to say that, yeah, it's fun to mock it, but take it seriously because he may be getting flack for it now, but that's going to go away. And the base will just be just as wedded to him as they were before it.
Oh yeah, the thing is that like I think that you definitely saw people like Ben Walsh and other conservative speech, but like, and I will say that's notable because you're seeing some of these people move away, but like, yeah, I think that there's still a decent size to the base. The
Hmm.
base is still there. The base will always somewhat be there as long as Trump's on the ballot. They'll be there behind him. Um, and so I think that that's obviously important to acknowledge that no matter what he says, does, like if you look at the Rob Reiner comment, even like it's
Yeah.
obviously people criticized it, but there's a lot of people that were like, "Yeah,
Fully on
he
board.
was right," or just saying like, "Oh, he said rest in peace at the end,"
Yeah.
or defended it
Just
in some way, or then you
just
had
enough. Yeah, just enough to give him a little bit of cover. And the right and anyone who and anti-Trumpers, they'll take just that little bit of cover and run with it, and spin it on every talk show and say that Democrats are blowing it way out of proportion.
oh
It's
yeah,
a tactic seen multiple times, over the last 10 years, and so
yeah. I think the Democrats. I think sometimes, not sometimes, they oftentimes like obviously like the Rob Reiner stuff and other things that he has said or says are problematic, dangerous, awful, just awful things to say. But like I think Democrats oftentimes they feed into, like you just said, the what Trump and his people
yeah.
want us to they want us to react
Mhm.
to every little thing,
Yeah.
dumb, evil thing he said. So then he can be like, see, Trump derangement syndrome or whatever he wants to
Yeah.
say. And because the thing is, he knew what was going to happen when he attacked Rob Reiner after he was murdered. Like, he knew that was going to
Yeah.
get reactions.
It
I don't
changed.
think he's not a smart guy, but he knows how media works
He's
and he knows how
he's very
Democrats work.
he's very feral in his approach to things.
Yeah.
Like, he knows that, like, there's a lot of stuff that he's been attacked on policy-wise that he just can't reverse, so he's gonna go back to the old playbook of just getting whatever media attention he can, and getting to focus on the next shiny little object, so you can't
Well,
really
yeah, because I
pin
think,
him down. Because
well, I think
for for almost a week, we weren't talking about affordability. Like, we were talking about Rob Reiner. We weren't talking about rising costs. We weren't talking about how his policy is destroying our economy. We were talking about Rob Reiner because it was a horrible thing to say. So
well,
he's
I
good
think,
at taking your eye off the ball.
well, yeah, I think AOC said something this week that I think she said every political development that happens this week up until Friday when the Epstein files are supposed to be released.
Ignore it.
Remember that the files are supposed to be released, and that's what every political development is
Yeah.
meant to somewhat distract from, in addition to the economy and the Venezuela stuff. And the major, I
Yeah,
would say those are some of the major stories that we should be focusing on. Is the economy, Venezuela, and the Epstein thing, because those are the three things that I would say are the most likely to destroy the Trump presidency for actual and the Republican Party's majorities in the coming years and stuff
yeah, because I
and
mean, it
such.
runs counter to almost like everything he's ran on for the past 10 years. Like he was one of
Yes,
the
just run
first.
on
Well,
the economy.
like part of his cred in 2015 was that he was one of the few Republicans willing to call out Bush on Iraq and going to
Yeah,
war for oil, and now he's just outright saying it. So a lot of what's happening now just runs just completely counter to this entire movement, and it needs to be a major focus for a lot of candidates, especially in some very R seats, because that's what a lot of them are focused on.
I what I find very interesting is that I thought we to be because obviously we saw Michelle Green and Thomas Massey and other individuals of that variety criticizing the Venezuela,
Yeah,
uh, potentially going to war, refusing to rule out putting troops on the ground, various other things having to do with that. I'm surprised we haven't seen more of MAGA variety come out against that specifically. Because again, like that's like you said, that was one
yeah.
of the things how he separated from the 2015 crowd. He,
Hmm.
so I think that was. I'm surprised that has not. Because that's part of like the original MAGA crowd,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the various things he's gotten since. But that was
It's
like the major thing that he got.
I think it's gonna be a sustained it's gonna take a sustained campaign. Like, I don't think it's gonna be, um mind you, these are like, the base has been ensconced in MAGA for 10 years, and it's gonna take a sustained campaign of not just Democrats, but, like, independents, moderate Republicans, like, focusing heavily on this issue for the next however long it takes. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be something that happens overnight. I think it's gonna be a slow process of peeling away, a lot of these voters, in a lot of these districts before we
I
see
also
it reach a level of criticality.
I also think there's a lot of Republicans because this is how Trump does things. They don't believe he's actually going to go to war with Venezuela. They don't think he's actually going to attack that because he's been saying he's going to for weeks and still has not.
Yeah,
I think he will. Um, I think that he once he does it though, I think that's when you're going to see a lot more backlash because like, oh, it's actually real. Now we have to
yeah,
respond to something that actually happened. Not just Trump saying things because Trump just says things sometimes.
yeah,
Um,
it's all theoretical
Plus,
right
it
now.
was just it was just it was just yesterday when Trump actually said out loud, "They took our oil, we want it back." Like that was the first time he kind of acknowledged publicly that it was all about oil and not about fentanyl and drugs
Yeah,
and what he's claiming about.
yeah.
Um,
It's kinda like take the tariffs, for example. Like, everyone was on board for the tariffs, like, they're like, to his base, they sound great in theory, um, but then once you start seeing them in practice, like, you start seeing people getting really angry really fast, even, like, moderates. So, yeah, to your point, yeah,
well,
once it
exactly.
happens, um, it's gonna become very real very fast, and that sustained
Like,
pressure campaign from moderate Republicans, independents, and Democrats that's when it's gonna pay off.
there's a reason why when Trump attacked the Iranian nuclear facility months ago, even though many could question whether or not it was actually effective, and there was questions about whether or not why Democratic Senate leaders and House leaders were not notified ahead of time, like as his procedure. There's a reason why no one really caught on because we were bombing an Iranian nuclear site. No one was
Yeah,
going to. It was not going to catch
yeah,
on.
no.
Um, and you weren't going to get people like Don Bacon and people like that to criticize him on that because again, it's Iranian nuclear site.
Yeah,
Um,
it's I hate to
but
say it, but yeah, Iran's been a boogeyman ever since the Shah took power. Like, it's kind of baked into American psyche to, um, hate Iran, for better or worse, so,
yeah,
yeah, like you're not going to win any support for saying don't bomb Iran. That's going to be pretty hard to. You're going to get a lot of moderate Republicans on board for that, even though he swore
Exactly. Like
no more
Democrats,
wars.
whether Democrats were right or not about whether or not there should have been more information about whether it was going to be
Yeah,
effective and also notification in the first place. It was not the political fight to have, and I think Democrats quickly dropped dead the political fight for that
yeah,
reason. Um, I think, especially since people saw it as the Republicans saw it, and some moderate Democrats saw it as a further attack on, like a further fight about whether or not we should be supporting various
yeah.
uh, actions that our ally Israel wanted us to do. So I think that it became the proxy battle for should Democrats be supportive, are Democrats supportive of Israel enough, which is what Trump wanted to be, which is kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that the things I definitely think that Democrats need to learn exactly which fights, even if the fights are correct, if they're worth having, because some are not going
Hmm.
to be winnable. Some, I do think that immigration, though, even though like Democrats not, not usually the winners of those debates on immigration, I think the recent ones, given how far Trump's gone, whether it be the just random pickups by ICE that we've seen. Like, there was a video yesterday I think I saw of like this person, ICE agent in Minnesota, dragging someone across the ice
Yeah.
into, like, these videos are
They're horrible, they're
just so bad.
visceral, and, like, they're persistent, like, they're all over social media, and so they're
Yeah,
not going away. Yeah, huge point, like, you have a woman who's gonna be dragged across ice, and same thing, again, in Minnesota, you have, I think there was a pregnant woman that was,
yeah,
I think
yeah, yeah. I think the person was pregnant. Yeah,
yeah, dragged out of her car, and like, that's something people respond to. Like, Americans, they do want a secure border, and I think
yeah.
Democrats have woken up to, the flaw in their thinking, um, and have actually stepped up calls saying, "Okay, yeah, we want a secure border, but we should also have a welcome mat out." Tallarico, I
The,
think, in
the
Texas
but
is approaching
but
this really
the
well.
way he's the because it's not like these videos are just like showing up randomly. Like you do have like people
No,
recording
yeah,
some of these interviews, but like you have this is a lot of these videos are being posted by Christine Noem and her department herself with soundtracks, and so it's like it's thinking that like this is like, oh, this will be popular if we put up like a random
yeah,
soundtrack to it and post on social media, or like it's like this is not like they don't understand that this is like actually like a bad, like this actually is bad PR, like because they just don't see it as that. They see it as, oh, we're getting rid of the bad guys, when it's just some old pregnant lady in her car who's actually a citizen,
yeah.
um
I don't
or
think they
veterans
I
being
don't think they
deported.
care necessarily. Like,
No, they don't.
I think because they do have a long-term anti-democratic goal in mind, like, I think to them that the PR doesn't matter. Um, I think they're trying to whip up a base, to keep them as solidly wedded to them as possible, and hoping a lot of their anti-democratic, policies can go through, and they have a fervent enough base to, um, keep them in power. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think that like there's a weird, like I think the thing is like I'm surprised we haven't heard from Tom Homan in a long time. I wonder where he's been, because he used to be the face of all these deportations, and then all of a sudden Christian Noam started
Yeah,
being, and he stopped being the face. Um,
yeah,
I don't know what happened to him. Um, like he's just completely out of
yeah. Who
public
knows?
eye. Um, I think it started happening after that scandal happened where he accepted the cash, and I haven't really seen him since after a little while after that. But then I think that also we're seeing changes in might see a new DHS secretary is what some reporting
It's
is.
It seems like there's
Um,
going to be a lot of turnover coming on. I mean, you got Dan Bongino, who's set to leave,
well,
and
that I think is clearly very clearly connected to the Epstein files coming out soon
I'm sure they
because
are. Yeah, um, yeah. I think there's going to be some turnover coming up here in the near future.
well, I
So
think that what's so interesting about that is if you look at like obviously the Biden administration and a lot of the people that Biden appointed for good or for bad at the beginning of his term were the secretaries in charge of those departments at the end of his 4 years.
yeah,
Um, and Trump obviously talks about how he picks the best people, and he hasn't even made it a year, and we've seen several turnover of people, of small people already. We're talking
yeah,
about Patel, Noam, and potentially others, and Dan Bongino obviously leaving, and those are all people that he was like that he ran on bringing into the administration.
yeah. I will say though,
And we,
it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that like we've also seen movement towards Hegseth maybe being ousted. I doubt
Hmm.
that just because I think that would give too much of a win to the liberals, and I know Trump doesn't like doing that. Doesn't like it
No,
appears so that
I think yeah, I think Hegseth is too firmly ensconced in the right and in the right wing base to leave at this point, especially if there's going to be some turnover with like Noam leaving, you got Bongino going. I don't think it'd be like I don't think he'll if he does leave, it won't be in the near future. Um,
yeah,
so, but I will say though, compared to his last administration, like they're running a far more disciplined. They have been running a far more disciplined ship than they did back when he was first in office in his first year. The staff turnover for that first year was just insane. Um, they've been
that
way
was
more
because you had so
efficient.
many of the principal people. You had all the principal people that he had picked because they're people like Chris Christie or Pence had suggested, and they
Yeah,
all were like, "I'm not going to do this illegal thing, or I'm not going to do this crazy thing," and they left. Now you have a bunch of people that are much more willing to say yes to almost
yes.
anything,
Hmm.
so they're going to stick on a lot longer. And the people that you're seeing leaving or being talked about leaving, whether it be Patel or Noam, are not leaving because they said no, but because there's some bad scandals for PR reasons that Trump and his people don't like, whether it be hiring the SWAT team to protect your girlfriend
Yeah,
with Patel, or all the wardrobe changes with Chrissy Noam, and the fact that she has not like she's done a horrendous job with FEMA.
yeah. Her multi-million
The
dollar
Republican government.
yeah, her multi-million dollar ad campaign that's like benefiting a DC ad firm.
Yeah,
Um, people don't hear a lot about that. So
no.
there's a lot of people in DC advertising world getting rich off of Gnome.
Well, the thing is, that doesn't surprise me at all because, like, if you look at the amount of ads that they've put out or the amount of, like, TikTok videos of her in different wardrobe outfits, like, it doesn't surprise me that we've spent millions of dollars of taxpayer money to make these ads and it's going to DC ad companies.
Yeah,
Um, and then obviously there's the rumors of her and Corey Lewandowski, which they have been for a long time,
for
even when she was
years. Yeah,
governor.
that's
Uh,
yeah,
there's been a lot of rumors about that for years. Um, that I don't know why. Like I feel like that would have come out more now that she's been secretary, but it's kind of been still a rumor. Um,
yeah.
but the thing is, I think it's like I feel like it's the worst kept secret in Washington. Also, like kind of people everyone knows it
It's
happens, and
there's so much
no one
going
seems.
on. Yeah, that almost kind of seems quaint in a way. Like it's
Yeah,
like oh, it's like oh, this one department secretary is having an affair. Like yeah, with Donald
like
Trump at the top. Nah, like that's cute compared to everything else
that's
that
like
everyone's doing.
that's like an old timey political
Yeah,
scandal.
it's
Like
like yeah,
nothing.
yeah, it's like Gary Hart in the '80s. It's like, oh, okay, we've seen that, been there, done that. What about this pedophile ring over here? Then which one are
The
you going to
pedophile
pay attention
ring,
to?
potential war crimes in
Yeah,
Venezuela. Like the thing there's much bigger ones that you typically don't see. Like typically, like you see, like if you see a scandal, like a big scandal engulfing the president, usually it's like one big one, and that's
Yeah.
enough to take someone down, or at least make them uh, at least not really able to do anything if it happens in the second term. But like he has like several major ones that would take down anyone.
Yeah, it's I
No one
mean,
seems.
going no, it's tale as old as time, for going on 10 years now. I remember exactly where I was when like I said, the John McCain thing came down. Like, that was the first one for me, when he said, like, and again, this seems like a small thing now, but when he said John McCain wasn't a war hero back in 2015,
Yeah,
that was huge. And I was
yeah,
working
you're John.
for and I was working for a Vietnamese refugee who was then a state senator. And I was like, this is the perfect time for us to really show that you're an independent, you're willing to speak up, and
Yeah.
you're willing to defend your community. Because the
Well, the
Vietnamese
thing is,
community idolized John McCain.
well, the
And
thing is, you had the John McCain comment. You had the attacking the reporter who had
yeah,
mental issues, and then you had, which of course he's doubled down more by what he called Tim Walz a few weeks ago,
yeah,
and then he's had a lot of comments like that, and then he obviously had the Access Hollywood tape.
no, no,
Um, any one of those in the past would have sunk any other nominee, and I still think that if any other person came about in either
hmm,
political party, if that happened to another person, even with Trump
yeah,
still in the political circle, it would take them down.
it
Like,
was,
look
yeah,
at every single person they put up for Senate and governor in the last 10 years, even if they've been endorsed by Trump. Herschel
yeah,
Walker, Carrie Lake, uh, Mark Robinson, North Carolina. Like, these are all people that I would say had less serious scandals compared to Trump, or just the same. Same
hmm,
Trump policies, same Trump affect. But Trump deserted a second, and in some of the cases, and voters were like, "I don't like this" in some of my political candidates. But then they go around and then say, "I'm supporting Donald Trump" at the same in the same breath. It's like
yeah,
there's a there's a certain following that's following Trump. Not us. It does make me feel better that it's not like, oh, we support the actions. It's just we choose to disregard them with Trump. Because at least that means that when Trump is gone, hopefully, and when he just leaves the White House in a few years, that we still have a basic moral code in terms of this. These actions are still wrong. It's just
yeah.
we don't care with this guy.
Yeah, maybe, or I don't know if the media finds the next person to, apply those
Yeah,
rules to. Um,
yeah.
I'm again, having come from this party, I'm very cynical about the direction that it's gonna take, and, I don't know if there's enough antibodies. Like, there's already a fight for who's gonna take over the party, and
Yeah,
that's
who do you think?
it's gonna
Yeah,
be
'cause
I wish I had an answer for that. It's
yeah,
I
'cause
would
I
hope
don't think
that
Jimmy Baby Vance.
no, I don't think they have the charisma to. I definitely think there's I know there's elements that wanna make Rubio and maybe some more moderates, um, the face of the party, but, yeah, I don't know who's gonna be winning that fight. I do know that, there are a lot of moderates, at least at the congressional level, that are fighting to take back some seats. So I think on that level, it's going to be a slog. It's going to require a lot of candidates who are laser focused, and very disciplined on messaging.
Well, yeah, because I think that you're seeing the situation where, like, you're also gonna have the moderate versus the MAGA movement. Then you're also gonna have within the MAGA movement, the Fuentes wing of the MAGA movement versus just the rest of
Yeah, I think
the Ted Cruz, I
if
guess, Ted Cruz
I
side of
think
the movement, and then
if these trends continue with Trump. Like he continues to flail on the economy. He continues to like he starts foreign wars. I think it opens up a lane for a lot of moderate Republicans to primary a lot of these MAGA conservatives. Um, and say a lot of these conservatives are out of a lot of these Trump MAGA Republicans are out of touch with what's going on in the ground. And so I think there is a lane for a lot of independent voices and the moderate voices in the Republican Party, but it's gonna take like a really, like I said, laser focused message. Again, on
Yeah.
affordability, the economy, um, at this point.
Well, the thing is, it was announced today that and this has also gotten a lot of, I guess you could call them insider baseball Democrats really angry and upset. But it was reported today that the DNC is not going to be releasing
Yeah.
um a postmortem report on what Democrats did wrong in 2024. I personally think that it's probably a good idea that we don't publicly release it just because I think Democrats are really good, really united right now, and they're very focused on the GOP lack of unity and focused on affordability. Democrats are focused on all these things that we need to be focused on to hold Trump and Republicans' feet to the fire. So things like that you just mentioned can actually happen. But
Yeah.
I also do worry about the thing is, as long as someone knows what we did wrong, if it's the top leadership, that's fine with me. As long as they actually act on the things that they learned in the report, I'm okay with not knowing it myself. I know what we did wrong. I
Yeah,
don't need
that's
to have another report.
that
The
that
thing is,
those
the thing is, a lot of it was we had a change midway, and we had a person that was not chosen by the people, and we had an economy that was struggling,
yeah,
and those things always lead to the opposite party winning.
yeah,
And it was not so, like looking like I thought that we would still win just because look at the guy that we're running against, but it's not necessarily surprising that we lost either.
no,
Like it's
and that's why I think those reports are just catnip for DC reporters, DC insiders,
that,
and,
that's
like,
why I think
you don't need a crystal ball or you don't need some reporting to say why Democrats lost. It's self-evident.
well,
Democratic
yeah,
candidates across the country know it, and they're running on it. Like they're running on, they're changing their messaging. Like you see candidates like Talarico, Mamdani. Like you're seeing all of these candidates adapt to the failures of 2024, and they're winning. Like even though like
exactly.
congressional Democrats have a low approval rating, like record low, they're still winning. So
Yeah.
it's
The thing is, I think there was a lot of pluses about the candidate in Tennessee that lost a few weeks ago. But the thing is, she was still a Democratic socialist candidate who had trashed Memphis and sorry, trashed Nashville, I mean,
mhm,
and had said other things attacking the police, and still she lost by single digits in Tennessee.
yeah,
So if people are angry at Republicans right now for a lot of
mhm,
reasons, all, all good reasons, and you're seeing Democrats focus on affordability. And obviously, they have different policies to tackle affordability. Not every policy is going to be
no,
like Mom Dies in New York City, and nor should it be. But you're seeing variations on that idea as the focus of every campaign.
no,
Um,
yeah,
and the thing is, Democrats like act like the 2024 election was a complete and utter disaster for Democrats when we had Alyssa Slotkin, Jackie Rosen in Nevada, Gallego in Arizona,
mhm,
all these other Democrats win at the same time that Trump was winning those same states.
yeah,
Um, and we still kept the House majority, House seat difference between us and Republicans to like a single digit. Like I think that now
Dem
I think that so Democrats didn't wholly screw up. We had a screw up at the top of the ticket that hurt us that we could have won some more House seats and we might have been able to keep us 1 or 2 Senate seats
Yeah.
and might have been able to keep the House. But like, I think in the end, it wasn't a catastrophic election in the way that
No.
um some people wanted to make it
Yes.
seem. Um,
Yeah, the Democratic loss masks, the fact that Democrats have a decent bench. They
yeah,
have great governors. Bashir in Kentucky. You had
yeah,
Cooper and Stein now over in North Carolina, Whitmer, Virginia, Shapiro, like Wes Moore in Maryland. Like there's a
even
solid
Pete
bench.
Buttigieg, even
Buttigieg who's out
like
there and good senators who have high approval ratings like Mark Kelly. Um, there's no
yes, I think
shortage of
they're amazing
quality
choices.
candidates.
The thing is, Democrats are gonna seems to be like yes, like Republicans are gonna have debates about policy in 2028, but it's gonna be more about the
Yeah,
thing is to some extent. Obviously, depends on how popular Trump is in 2028, which I don't think he will be that popular even in the GOP primary by that point, even if MAGA is. Um, but the thing is, you're gonna see a lot of Republicans arguing about who's more MAGA, who's more whatever. Um, and Democrats are gonna be arguing more about like among like 20 different candidates about like what direction do we want
yeah,
the party and the country to be going? It's gonna be a
yeah.
lot more future and country focused rather than identity focused, which will be more the Party, which is a interesting turnaround from what we obviously saw in 2020 when we saw a lot more focused on identity politics in the Democrat primary,
Yeah,
um, which is then eventually we got Joe Biden. Because there's some people arguing about all
that's
these
the
more
I'll
out
I'll
there
t
policies. Joe Biden was kind of like, oh, how about we just go boring? How about we just
yeah,
go normal and beat him?
that's what, like, Joe Biden's victory is I like telling this anecdote, is proof that even, like, the most seasoned consultants have no idea what the hell's going on. I
Yeah,
remember the day before Biden won that Super Tuesday, no, won decisively in South Carolina, and
yeah,
then wound up getting all the endorsements and just crushing it in Super Tuesday. The 2 days before South Carolina, one of my bosses was saying over the phone to someone, it's like, "Nah, Bernie Sanders has got this wrapped up. It's Biden's dead in the water." This is a guy who'd been around for 20 something years, really good guy. He like really knew his stuff.
yeah,
But even he was saying that Bernie Sanders was going to be taking on Trump in 2020. And then just 2 days later, Biden just has this historic comeback. So it was something that always kind of amused me. It just proved that no one truly knows what's going on.
But
The
but
most
the thing
seasoned
is that
political veterans.
I don't think any political consultant either side of the aisle would have predicted that like a few months ago that March to the Green would be the
No.
major person coming against Trump, even if it's for political reasons, and then
Yeah.
announcing that she's leaving Congress. Like no one could have predicted that.
No. Yeah.
When I heard that she was resigning from Congress, I was like, "What?
Like, oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye." But like, okay, like I'm not gonna like I'm sorry that you're getting death threats. That's awful. Um, I
Yeah.
don't know why you care. Obviously, you care about it now because it's happened to you, and not you weren't caring before when it happened to Liz Cheney or any other Republican over the years, or
Yeah.
Democrat
I
over the
want
years. But
yeah,
like,
and she won't apologize for that either. That's another thing is, again,
yeah,
going
the
back
thing,
to where we first
and this
started
is what
this,
would. Yep, the
is, yeah,
accountability is not there.
she won't take accountability for it, and I thought that was one of the most despicable parts of her interview, is that when she
And
was asked about
and
it, she turned it out or back on the interviewer. I was like, "Nah."
well, the thing is, well, also is that after Trump pretty much called for all those 6 members of both the House and the Senate that said that you don't have to follow legal orders. After he called them traitors and uh,
Yeah.
they all deserve to be hanged and everything. There was no comment from
No.
Marcia the Green, um, and that was I would say that was a much more out there thing to say than some of the things
Way.
that
Yeah.
Trump said about Marjorie Green. Now a lot of people could infer what he was saying about Marjorie Green, but he outright said it with these 6 Democrats. Um,
Mhm.
and she still calls us the radical left Democrats. She hasn't changed rhetoric, even though she said she was
No.
going to. It's the thing is, AOC was right. I think that she's she's angry that Trump said no to a Senate and governor bid, and she's trying to look for a bid for president now, and she wants
Yeah.
to find a lane where she can attack him on tariffs and on some level of certain things. She can and then she can get her retirement pension by
Just
resigning when she does. So it's again, it's not a surprise. It's a giant grift. But
yeah.
and there is a lot of grifting among some people that all of a sudden just turned against Trump. But like, there's a lot of people, obviously, the ones that are endorsing candidates or coming out like daily against Trump, saying, "No, this is wrong."
Yeah, they're like one of the great
Um,
things when I left was finding out when I talking with the Bulwark, I talked with Kinzinger, Joe Walsh, having the chance to talk with them and find out that um, in private, like they're just like who they are in public. Like they're very
yeah,
genuine. They genuinely
yeah.
believe in like what they say publicly,
Well,
and they're very supportive. They're very supportive of me. They're willing to talk to me. Like I saw some threats. Like Kinzinger, Congressman Kinzinger, like provided some helpful comments that kind of reassured me. So yeah, that's those those people. That group of people has been, I know, are 100% genuine in their fight, and so that's been a real pleasure to find out.
no, yeah, 'cause I attended this like former Republican, current Republican, but like anti-Trump bipartisan conference called Principles First back in February 2025. Uh, and I got to meet a bunch of these people. Like I met Joe Walsh, I met Michael
Yeah.
Steele, I met Tim Miller, I met all these different people. And I would agree that they are all the same types of people that we see on, I guess
Hmm.
now, MS Now and all these other networks, and
Yeah.
what we see on TV and everything like that, and what we see on Substack. I think that it's it's really interesting to see because, like, I think that also, like, for Joe Walsh specifically, like, he was a person that was a member of the Freedom Caucus. He founded the Freedom Caucus when he was in, and now he's a Democrat. So,
He was very far right. He said a lot of stuff, and he has spent years atoning for it. Like
yeah,
he's
and
not
the thing is,
shy away
that's
from
an
it.
example. That thing is, that's an example that I think that that's why I'm like, I agree more with him what he's years ago than some of the Democrats that are actually in office right now. And
Yeah.
and it's just like, and thinking about like where he was just like less than a decade ago,
Hmm.
eh, being a member of the group that is now even crazier than it
Yeah.
was then, it's just like, wow, what a transformation. And
Because he
the
actually,
thing is like, 'cause he actually cares.
yeah, like he was willing to sit. That's something that really just does not seem to exist in the modern like Republican Party, or at least the people who stay. They're like they just can't bring themselves to say I was wrong
Well,
and I'm sorry. Like it's just an
what
instinct
bothers
that
me,
doesn't.
like, obviously we have all the crazy conservatives, like you have the Mike Lees and all these people, but like the thing is, what bothers me is the moderates, or the so-called moderates, like the Don Bacon's, who still endorse and vote for these people, vote for Trump, and defend these people even occasionally. But when we all know that they actually do know better, like these are like,
Yeah. No, they
I think
do.
Don Bacon, people like Don Bacon, he's a patriot. I'm not going to deny that, but I think that. But he knows, like, obviously, he's come out more against Trump lately about the Ukraine issues and about Venezuela and about things like that. And of course, he talked about the Rob Reiner comment. But I still think that if Trump was running for something again, he would still endorse like
Yeah,
he did in 2024 and every
yeah,
other election. And
yeah.
he's
Give
still
him, yeah,
and he's not speaking up against it, he's just not running for re-election. And
yeah, it,
I think you're seeing a lot of people like that do that. And we've seen that in the last 10 years. A lot of Republicans that wanted to stand that were either stood up to Trump or clearly wanted to but didn't, retiring or whatever, rather than actually fighting
it's,
Trump and attacking
that's
him.
why, yeah, that's
Um,
why I give Liz Cheney a lot of credit. Like she
yeah,
said what she needed, and she went all
and
the
she
way.
fought to
Like
the end.
she fought
She
to
fought
the
until
bitter
she
end.
lost the primary.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
She
after
took
she
it.
lost the primary, she didn't stop. After she
No,
lost the primary, she still didn't stop. She kept going. She's like, I'm going to keep endorsing people. I'm going to still campaign for people. I'm going to go out and endorse Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Um, I'm going to get my father to do so.
yeah,
Um,
that was
and it's
wild.
like the thing is like when I heard that she was endorsed, I'm like, well, that's amazing. And then I like read like 10 minutes later on Twitter, like they asked, oh, what is your father going to do? He says, oh, he's going to vote for her too. I'm like, wait,
Hell
is,
froze
endo-
over.
is voting for Kamala Harris? Okay,
Yeah,
well,
that almost might kind of made me wince a little because it's like that's not gonna win any votes. Like, that's it's like that's great.
I was
Like
just like,
I'm glad he's doing it, but just like from a political standpoint, I was like, that's gonna
like
bum out a lot of Democrats, and like that's not gonna win any votes.
the thing is,
Uh,
I'm like, okay, this could help like the old timey conservatives. Like if they're really on the edge of voting one way or the other, they might. But like, I don't know.
it's
Like
such
it's
a
good.
small fraction.
Like the thing is, I think like Liz Cheney makes that mark a lot more because it gives the Cheney
Yeah,
name,
without the
and it's
Dick
like okay,
Cheney
we get
baggage.
the idea.
Yeah,
But like when you have Dick Cheney, specifically since we live in a country where obviously the Republican Party and obviously the Democratic Party is so annoyed with the old way of doing foreign policy that Dick Cheney, of course, is famous for, um,
yeah,
specifically with wars and concerns about war crimes and stuff like this. Having, especially in places like Michigan, where there's already a deep dislike of the Democrat of Kamala Harris because of their concerns with her views on
yeah,
Israel and policies having to do with that region, having Dick Cheney talking about how he was going to vote for Kamala Harris repeatedly, and having Liz Cheney go to Michigan and all these different places, like in Michigan, to campaign for Kamala Harris, it's just like,
yeah.
okay,
But
this is
great.
not going to help. This is gonna hurt us among the people that we need to show
Yeah,
up to vote for us, and it's not going to necessarily get us a lot. No, I'm glad they endorsed, but we shouldn't be bringing them around to every single campaign event.
yeah,
I think that there is a belief among both sides that endorsements matter a lot more than they actually do. I think that in most of these cases, endorsements better in the primaries, I would say, matter more because it kind of
yeah.
gives some of these candidates that
Well,
are behind, or it might give them a little bit more in thing.
I
Like
mean,
once you get to the general,
no, yeah. I mean,
most Democrats,
look at Clyburn. Clyburn essentially gave Biden the presidency,
yeah,
um,
but
without
like
his
those are
endorsement.
monumental.
Yeah,
The thing is, endorsements in the primary can be monumental and change things drastically. Because like he had endorsed Buttigieg or endorsed Bernie, for example, who knows where we would be right now? But like
yeah,
he endorsed Biden, um, and obviously that was also when he decided to let him know that he was going to pick Kamala Harris and some person like Kentucky Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court and all these other things. But the thing is, but once you get to the general, those endorsements like
no,
they kind of matter in terms of the idea of like what type of people supporting you. Like in 2020, they were kind of important because it was like, oh, all these anti-Trump Republicans are endorsing Joe. That was helpful, but
it could be
overall, I don't
good.
think that the individuals matter that much.
No, in terms of like persuasion, yeah, I think it was very minimal, but like in terms of like coalition building and like get infrastructure, there's definitely value. Like you have it opens access to some donors you probably didn't have prior. So yeah, I think in
Well,
terms of pure just persuasion, it's a very minimal impact.
one thing I
Has
was
its
surprised by
place.
was like I was surprised that people like Mitt Romney didn't endorse anyone. I thought that people like him would come out and support,
Uh,
but
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of their social conservative um issues like they hold are holding back. I think for them they are so ensconced in the tribal nature of our system that there's just some that just can't make that leap. And um yeah, Mitt Romney and I think George Bush knew I could endorsement from him would not help. So I can
no,
understand why
that would
he
have
stayed out of it. Um So, but yeah, I think there's just some people who the supporting a Democrat is just too is one step too far for them.
no, no. I think that I had no issue with Bush staying out because I think that a lot of people could assume he was supporting Kamala Harris because of one, Dick Cheney endorsing, um,
Mhm.
and you had all these former Bush administration people endorsing Kamala Harris. It was kind of like I'm not going to say it, but like everyone around me is saying it. I think
Yeah.
his daughter said it. One of his children said it. That they were endorsing. So like, I think that like they're like people will get the idea that I'm supporting, but like my endorsement will only uh help Trump because everyone hates me so much
Yeah.
among conservatives, or at least the Trump conservatives. So like it's like and no real Democrats would be inspired by that either. Um I think that it's gonna be very interesting to see how all the different 2028 bench contenders show themselves to be presidential candidates in the coming
Yeah.
years, because a lot of them are going to run. I believe Westmore said he's not going to run, which I
He's young.
question.
He has time. I think he has time.
He has time. He'd be a good vice president if he doesn't run for actual president.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he has. Yeah.
but I think that you're going to see like everyone else pretty much join the race at some point. You'll probably get some randoms like Rahm Emanuel and uh, Ro Khanna and other uh,
Yeah, fall off.
that will run. You probably get. I think there's rumors that Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen's going to run. But like I think that you always get the people that think they're going to get far. They might make some have some interesting moments where they
And
say something that people that goes
yeah,
viral, and then they don't make it to
I'm
Iowa.
yeah,
Um,
I'm interested. Like I think a very vigorous primary campaign with a big field
yeah.
is gonna be good for the party. So
Well,
I'm very interested to see how it plays out.
I
Um,
think that especially since didn't have a primary at all, really,
no,
in 2024, and that was one of the reasons why we struggled. I know I question whether or not we would be really able to have a primary when Joe
no
Biden
matter
dropped out. I think that would have been really
I think
difficult. But
the minute he dropped out, the die had been cast. I think it was cooked, and he was
yeah,
yeah. There
he
was
had to
really
drop out. But I also think
he,
that like
him
'cause I think
dropping
that
out saved the down ballot immensely.
exactly.
Like
I think that the down ballot was heavily helped by not
yeah,
having Joe Biden at the top of the ticket. And the reason why I support the thing is like I think Kamala Harris was a qualified candidate. I just don't think she was a an amazing candidate for the job of president. She would have been a good president, and I think that she was qualified.
yeah.
I just don't think that she was the best candidate for. But I also think that
She didn't have a great hand
she
going
was
into it.
not popular. She was not popular before she became the nominee.
No.
Um, no one really thought about Tim Walz as a future presidential contender for good or for bad.
Yeah.
So putting those two people up didn't harm the party long term. Like if you had put like Shapiro on that ticket or one of the top 2028 contenders and they lost, that would have been a much harder uh,
Mhm.
situation to come back from for any of those candidates if they
Yeah.
were the nominee or the vice presidential nominee.
Yeah. They would have the
Um,
stink of 2024 on them forevermore.
and so now the only people that have the stink on them are people that were never considered contenders for 2020 in the first place because of how popular they were or not. They weren't that well known.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, Kamala Harris will still run, and I have no problem with that. She should. Everyone should feel free to run, and then let the ideas be the
Let the let the
deciding
strong yeah,
factor.
let the strongest candidate win.
But I think that like I just don't think that I think she knows whether or not she runs or not. She's not going to be the nominee again.
Yeah.
Um, she's not. I don't think she's going to get very far. I'd be surprised if she makes it to Iowa. I'd be surprised if a lot of these candidates make it to Iowa, frankly. Um, but I still think that every person should run because I think that we kind of need to start from scratch a lot of ways because, like, obviously, we'll be rebuilding a lot of things from things that Trump
Yeah.
destroyed in the last couple of years, and then we also have to rebuild it into
Yeah.
something that works better than it did before Trump destroyed it. Because a
Yeah.
lot of these things, yeah, yes, Trump destroyed it, but Trump also made a point that these things were broken before he destroyed
Y
them. And
yeah. Yeah, Democrats need a vision for the future. That's not just like running against Trump. Yeah, he's done a lot of terrible things. They need a vision for the future, for like beyond him.
so the thing
So
is, Democrats have to figure out what that is. They're already starting to
mhm,
do it, but I think that having as many people saying what potential things to like obviously, even though he didn't get anywhere in 2020, Andrew Yang's whole comments about a universal basic income led to what we got with the
yeah,
monthly checks.
yeah,
So it's like these ideas, even if the person proposing the ideas doesn't get anywhere near the administration or near the nomination, the ideas can still help. I think that
yeah.
I
That's
personally wrote a piece that we need someone that can be willing to criticize AI. Because I think we have a lot of candidates on both sides of the aisle that are too um, pro AI to to not acknowledge. They need to acknowledge that there's going to be a lot of jobs lost.
yeah.
Um,
It's and I think like looking at like the candidates in Virginia and then in New York, like you couldn't have like more different kind of candidates in Spamberger and Mamdani.
no, yeah,
And you're gonna have like, it's gonna be an interesting clash of where the Democratic Party is gonna go. And I think it's a healthy one that needs to be frankly, it needs to be had. And you're having the same thing between the further left and the abundance, crowd. Um, so it's something that has to be and that's a sign of a healthy party. Like, that's what
yeah.
like, is kinda lost by the media. It's like the media frames it as Democrats in disarray when it should be framed as, "This is what a party does. A party has debates. A party."
We debate ideology,
Yeah,
and we're the the thing is now, like, I don't think that I think that if there's any candidate on the 2028 stage that just like throws Joe Biden under the bus, I'm gonna be like, well, that is gonna make me more wary of you. Now, you should obviously criticize. You should be free to criticize whoever you want, but I think that throwing him completely under the bus when his issues were mainly age and not dropping out sooner, and he bungled the immigration thing in
yeah,
a big way. But like the thing is, you can criticize him without saying like he was all bad, throw him
no,
out. Like the thing,
it's
he's not politically popular right now for various reasons that make sense. But like,
yeah,
I
unfortunately,
think
like
the
yeah, he's gonna go down in history for like, yeah, like you said, he could have done more on immigration, but, like, at the end of the day, he also led one of the strongest COVID recoveries of any nation in the world.
yeah,
And unfortunately, he's gonna go down for, um, his decision to run for a reelection. That's going to be his
Yeah.
legacy, and I think that's a shame, because I think he was a at his basic level was a is a fun, like probably one of the more decent men we've had in that office. Um, and
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I think
I
it's
just think the
really a
Democrats
shame.
would be best not. I just hope that whoever runs, however they run against each other, that they just don't go super negative against each other because they need to remember that like at the end, one of them is going to be running, not to be the
Yeah,
nominee against Vance or some variation of
yeah,
some sort of conglomeration of mix of Fuentes part of the party and a mix of MAGA and a mix of
the
conservative and a mix
Republican
of everything else.
if the Republican Party does have a primary, that's gonna be I can only imagine what that's gonna look like. That's gonna be
It's like you're gonna have the people like you're gonna have the
insane.
Nick Fuentes when you're trying to with their influence, obviously. It's very clear to me that Tucker Carlson's gonna run for president.
Yeah,
Um, not sure where he'll I honestly don't know how far he'll go. I would like to think that he would have no chance, but I thought the same thing with Donald Trump in
yeah,
2016, so who the heck knows? He
yeah,
seems to be getting more influence in the party. Um, especially since, Charlie Cook was murdered. Him and Nick Fuentes have gotten a lot more influence.
yeah,
The two of them, and Candace Owens even somewhat. Um, and so the question really will be because what the issue I've been seeing is that all the people that have been criticizing Trump lately, most of them are the people to the they're more of the Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, um, Candace Owens wing of the party, and less the Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz side of the wing of the party. That they're not moving more to the center,
yeah,
more to the old conservative. They're moving more to the Fuentes, and that's extremely concerning. Um,
mhm,
and of course, we feel like Ted Cruz and other people like that trying to pretend like this wasn't the
uh-huh,
trajectory all along, post
yeah,
Trump, and trying to change it. Like, oh, this is not who the party is. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
it
sorry.
unfortunately is. The thing is, now Trump did a decent job of pretending it was for now time and trying to silence them. But it was always bound to happen when Trump got to his lame duck status and um left office. This part of the party was always going to take over after him because
Yeah,
that's a trajectory he's been doing since Charlottesville and everything else that he's done. Now, the murder of Charlie Cook only made that happen sooner because there was a vacuum
yeah,
of space
it blew it
um,
wide out into the
that
open.
and it made it a lot more of a public debate, because you have the people like Bridget McCone, so you have people like Ken
Yeah,
Sowen thinking that Bridget McCone man, and um, then you have Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson thinking that, and Candace Owens thinking that it was Turning Point USA and Eric Cook that were involved with the murder of Charlie Kirk, because that makes sense.
yeah,
Um, and it's like you just have all these just nutty people, and like yes, they're nutty, but like they also are kind of taking the mantle that Trump took in 2015 about attacking these foreign wars, attacking this foreign policy that is not totally America first, and
yeah,
they're taking up the mantle that Trump claimed to be taking up in 2015,
mhm,
and that could that could get a lot of people to join that were MAGA people, and that it's gonna be interesting to see how successful they are, or if the
yeah,
Ted Cruz wing of the party, the Ted Cruz Ben Shapiro side of the party is gonna win this battle, and that'll honestly be the battle of the GOP in 2028, I believe.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
and so that'll be a very bloody battle. I don't think that I think either way, whoever wins that battle, one side of the party is gonna be deeply angry about their side not winning, and it's
yeah,
going to lead to a bad nominee that's not fully united among the GOP, and it's going to lead to and then you're going to have the Democrats who will hopefully, after a primary of ideas and not about people, but of ideology and people and direction, hopefully they'll be more united after with whoever they've
Yeah.
picked by that point, and we'll have a united nominee who has the whole democracy coalition behind him or her
Yeah.
against a party that's really lacking unity. Either a person's really crazy because they got the Fuentes wing of the party to win, or someone that's completely disjointed because they the Nick Fuentes part of the party lost, and
Yeah.
you're going to have a lot of people staying home. Um, I hope for the sake of the country that the Fuentes party part of the party loses because that'll be better for the country at large in the long term.
Oh,
But I I want to believe the GOP has the ability to salvage itself in the long term. I just don't see it right now
I
because there's
don't
not been a huge effort by the old
no,
normal
there's
Republican.
the normals
Because all
either
the
don't
old
e yeah, the
they've all
normals
become
either
Democrats.
yeah, they either don't exist, they're Democrats, or their view on race and immigration are so far right and blatantly racist that they have no credibility in stopping Nick Fuentes. So,
Exactly.
yeah, there's yeah, it's not a near term, they don't have a near
Yeah,
term answer.
I think that yeah, I just think that it's gonna be very interesting to see how it all plays out. I hope that but I will say, like, there's a lot of surprises about, like, people criticizing, obviously, Ted Cruz is attacking more because he also wants to run for president, so he's been criticizing people
Yeah,
like Brendan Carr, Jimmy Kimmel, cancellation, or he's also been obviously, he's been, I would say, the lead person in this anti-Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, debate. He's been the lead on that, and
yeah,
so he's clearly trying to pick out this lane. I just don't think there's a lane for him in this current
no,
GOP.
no,
Even though he was runner up in 2016, and in a normal situation, he'd be considered a front runner in in
yeah,
2028. But now he's probably seen as like a bottom tier compared to Tucker Carlson.
yeah,
Um, without winning the party. So it's the thing is, I'm sure it's hard because it's like I think a lot of these people really did think that once Trump's gone, we can return back to what we had.
yeah, it's
This was
full.
just an
It's
8 year
not happening.
thing, and if they had maybe blocked it after January 6th and they just shut him down then, maybe. But he's not survived that, and
Yeah,
he he's fully ingrained in that party now.
yeah,
And even if he himself is not there, his movement is. And I don't and the things they made it part of the party base in terms of the voting structure. And now a lot of those people won't vote if Trump's on the ballot in 2028. I almost guarantee it. But the thing is, doesn't mean that they won't vote in the primary.
yeah,
Um, they'll vote in the primary, they just won't vote in the general. But I think the GOP is bound to lose in 2028. The question really is, who do Democrats nominate? What direction do they want to go? And what do they do in 2032? Because that's really going to be the next election. I think is going to be
mhm,
truly instrumental for the country. Because I think unless something dramatically changes, Democrats are pretty much guaranteed to win 2028, given the current trajectory of the country and where Trump is and where Republicans are, and
yeah,
who they're likely to nominate. But can we win re-election in 2032? But that's a long ways off. But
yeah, it is.
it's something Democrats need to think. It's something Democrats need to think about because one thing Republicans do well, they've been doing for a long time, is planning ahead. They do a good job of
Mhm,
planning ahead and figuring out what their long-term strategy is, whether it be Mitch McConnell's Supreme Court strategy, that's obviously benefited Trump more than I think Mitch McConnell wanted it to.
yeah,
Um, and you've seen it with like the movement towards the evangelical right, obviously taking a hold in the party. That was obviously part of the
mhm,
plan for a long time. And so, like, the thing is, you're seeing a bit like, and obviously a lot of cultural stuff and things like that. So I think that they've planning for a while. The question is, will Democrats plan for their future? And we'll see.
yeah,
I am hesitant to believe that they will because they haven't so far. Um, they're still planning for 2026 and not as much on 2028. But
yeah.
I hope it changes.
We'll see, time will tell, yeah, I'm skeptical, but we shall see. Hey, this has been
Yeah.
great, I have another thing to unfortunately get to. I
Yeah,
appreciate you having me on. This was a great
of
discussion,
course.
and I hope
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
we can all have more
Um,
of these discussions in the coming years.
Definitely. I encourage all of my subscribers to uh subscribe to you, and I again thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.